What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to a late night edition of On the Road to Victory. I, of course, am your host, Jimmy Smith. I hope you're all having yourselves a great Tuesday night. I just got done a little while ago watching the Sixers game. Before that, got to go on with the guys over at Vet Alumni. So thank those guys for having me on. It was a great time. Look forward to listening to that tomorrow when it drops. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a great night. Any questions or comments you have, please feel free to do so. But we're going to get into the Denver Broncos, the Week 10 opponent. We know, this is a tougher defense, but not as great an offense as the Chargers we just faced and put up a good match. But we're moving on. Time to get on to, obviously the Week 10 opponent. You can't sit here and marinate this loss, but you learn from it, move on. You hope they keep running the ball, progressing. Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, now obviously Jonathan Gannon, and this defense have been very questionable. So we'll see how they do this week. I'm very hopeful we can pull off a W. But before we get into that, let's get into some Eagles news for the day. The Jets signed Elijah Riley off of our practice squad. You know that Joe Douglas is always trying to pick our players, but they lost Marcus May. He is on IR. So, they picked up Elijah Riley. We lost him. So that opened up a spot, and we put Craig James back on our practice squad. So he was signed there. And then another move was made. The Eagles waived cornerback MCCAIN. And, we have an influx of cornerbacks right now. So you're thinking, obviously we don't need them all. So you might as well get rid of somebody. But to me, what that says, and I think a lot of people probably feel this way, but I think that means that Jordan Howard needs to be added to the active roster. Obviously, he cannot be brought up from the practice squad anymore. They did that twice. So now we need to sign him, or someone else could take him. I don't think, he would have been signed by the Browns by now, but I think there's probably already a deal in place. At least I'm hopeful that's what's happening, but hopeful that Jordan Howard is signed to the active roster. He has been doing really well. So, not saying that I know anything or that's what's happening, but I'm hopeful that is the move. Then we actually protected only 3 players this week, but we've got LaRaven Clark, John Hightower, and then one of the newest acquired defensive backs, Jared Maiden. So we'll see if any of those guys are brought up. We'll see if Arthega-Whiteside's still out, if we need Hightower. We'll see with the injuries to the safeties and everything else going on if Jared Maiden is needed. So we will definitely keep track of that. But let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go behind enemy lines with the Denver Broncos. And look, this team has actually been a little surprising. And obviously, just the other day, they whooped that ass on the Dallas Cowboys. So we all enjoyed to see that for sure. So that was nice. But now we need to lay the smackdown on them. This team is actually sitting at the bottom of their division, though. 5-4. What a close race it is there in the West. Oh, my Lord. So we have lost to the Raiders, the Chiefs, the Chargers most recently. And, now we're going to hope that we don't get a clean sweep here by the AFC West. So we're taking the bottom of the barrel here, but they're all, obviously the Chiefs were at the bottom there for a while every time we were looking at this. But they moved themselves up here. So we'll see how it goes, but hoping for a W for the Birds. But let's get into the coaching staff first and foremost. Vic Fangio, a lot of people talking about what if he is fired? Maybe he could come here and help this defense out if Gannon doesn't work out. We'll see. Pat Shurmur, we're all too familiar with him. Offensive coordinator over there. Ed Donatel, defensive coordinator, and Tom McMahon. They got a lot of experience there. Donatel, been, I think, like 30-some years I saw. Hey, I think that at any given Sunday you can lose or win, and we're a young coaching staff, but that doesn't mean anything. These guys are experienced, but it doesn't mean they're the greatest. So, I'm telling you, I think this team could definitely go out. So let's look at what their offense looks like first. Let's look at how they're doing so far in the rankings here with their stats. They're 20th in rushing, 103.6 yards, 17th in passing, 21st in total yards, and 23rd in points that they're putting up per game. So, below average offense here. And Teddy Bridgewater back healthy, but I don't know, man. I think that we could definitely put a hurting on them, but we'll see. Now, they are giving up 3.1 sacks per game. So, if they're allowing that many sacks, we have to be able to get pressure on Teddy Bridgewater. That is key. It's been key, but we can't get any damn pressure. It's driving me nuts. But, they're not throwing too many interceptions, middle of the pack there. Fumbles lost, 17th, and then turnovers, 14th. So this offense, a little below average. So let's get into who this offense is. Obviously, we just talked about it. Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback and Drew Lock on the COVID list right now, but he would be the backup. And then Brett Ripien sits in for him right now. But Teddy Bridgewater, it's nice to see his career. Happy for him that he turned things around. But I definitely think we could be able to lay the smackdown on his ass. But he is somebody that obviously, at any given Sunday, just like with the Cowboys, nuts to watch. But yeah, I'm not afraid of Teddy Bridgewater. I'll be real with you. But I am more afraid of this run game. Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams. We talked about, they might be ranked low in rushing. What was it, 20th? I still think these two combined with our struggles against the run, they could definitely put a bruise in on our linebackers, defensive line. But we'll see if we could shut these two down. Now, Adrian Killens, you see down there, he is on the IR. But yeah, that's quite the 1-2 punch they've got there. Then at receiver, we've got Courtland, Sutton, Jerry, Jeudy. Those two are no joke. They come to play. And Tim Patrick filled in well while Jerry Jeudy was hurt. So they mean business with that trio. So you got to watch all three of them. We definitely need to watch out for Tim Patrick. I had him in fantasy, and dude, it's an anomaly there. But no, not talking trash. But, they've got three good receivers, two really good receivers. And then Hinton actually stepped in a little bit and played some. So we'll see what they use there, but a pretty damn good receiving core. So this secondary is going to have its handful. We'll see if we can get some effing pressure on the quarterback, try to slow down this offense. Now, they actually have Noah Fant on the COVID list. We'll hope that he's healthy and ready to go for the Broncos. You never want to see anybody hurt, especially with that stuff going on. So hopefully he gets healthy. We can take these guys out. Andrew Beck at the bottom there actually plays a little fullback too. But, Aqua Begakin, yeah, sure. I'm not even gonna try that. He would fill in, but obviously Noah Fant is a beast. So we're gonna have to try to shut this tight end room down. And not only that, we talk about throughout the season, we faced some pretty damn good tight ends and some good receiving cores, and it's been up and down, man. We've shut down Travis Kelce, we look good, and then Dalton Schultz beats our ass. You got Foster Moreau stepped in. You thought Darren Waller's out, this would be great. Not so great. So they've got good receivers, good tight ends, good running backs. So this is not an offense to sleep on just because, the stats, and you got to take all that stuff with a grain of salt. So I think that this offense, it's beatable. And where it becomes beatable, and we talk about getting pressure, right? Shutting this offense down. Well, look at the right side. You'll see an orange there with the players that are out. On IR, you've got Glasgow now, Brett Jones, and Cody Conway there. But out are Garrett Bowles, their starting left tackle, and Bobby Massey, their right tackle. So may not get placed on IR, but they will be out for this game. So you've got Cam Fleming stepping in at left tackle, and then Calvin Anderson at right tackle. Quinn Miners will actually step in because Glasgow's out, but Dalton Reisner was dealing with an injury at the end of the game last week against Cowboys. So all these guys got hurt. Muti is actually dealing with COVID as well. So we'll see if he gets placed back. We'll keep you up to date with that. But this offensive line is hurting, and we need to get pressure again. We did it against the Lions, and I think this is a banged-up offensive line that you could definitely get to Teddy Bridgewater. We talk about they're giving up 3.1 sacks per game. Definitely beatable. Yo, my man, too high up. What's going on, dude? Just enjoying this late Tuesday night. What a busy day it was, but hopefully you're having a good one, dude. But we're getting into the Eagles' Week 10 opponents. Any questions, comments you have, man, fire away. And the same goes to anybody else. You're watching this now, you're watching this later, you want to comment, always down to talk some birds. But right now we're just breaking down, going behind enemy lines and talking about those too high up Denver Broncos. So let's get into the defense. Now you see here, they are a pretty good defense. We talked about this. I think people were sleeping on the fact that this is a much better defense than the Chargers. You look here, they're 9th against the run, 10th against the pass, 6th in total yardage, and 2nd in points per game allowed. So I think that obviously this is a much better defense. So that's a little concerning, but you got to run that damn ball regardless. And then you allow these receivers to do some work here. Devontae Smith looked great. We need to get, hopefully, Reagor's a little more healthy and he could do something. We had him in the run game. We were doing some things. I like that. And then last week, one pass behind the line of scrimmage and he runs farther back. It's like, oh my God. Quez Watkins, need to get him involved, obviously. But this defense, it's much tougher, but it's beatable for sure. Now, they are tough defense when it comes to getting sacks too, but you will see here shortly they're missing some guys, but 2.4 sacks per game, 0.8 interceptions per game, not getting too many fumbles and not too many turnovers, but it's a tough defense. So let's take a look at who these Denver Broncos are. Any questions or comments you guys have about it, please feel free to do so. But here we go. Denver Broncos defense. We'll start with the defensive lineman, Draymond Jones and Shelby Harris. And then you got Purcell. We'll see if he's healthy. He was inactive against the Cowboys, but you got Deshaun Williams, Samar Steven, and McTelvin Agim. So you've got some big boys in there, and they're another 3-4 defense. So we've been facing 3-4 defenses nonstop. So I really think that we have a chance, though, to still run the ball. So you have to do that. We'll see if Purcell is healthy, but they've still got Harris and Jones. And then they've got quite the rush still without, and I know these aren't household names, but there's a reason you keep your young guys. You want to see, what you've got. So you get rid of Von Miller. They've got Malik Reed and Jonathan Cooper. We'll see. I think Malik Reed got hurt at the end of the game, so we'll keep you up to date with that. But Stephen Weatherly stepped in. But you've got Bradley Chubb on the IR, and that is obviously huge. You got Mintz and Patrick, but Bradley Chubb is a major loss. So I'm sure they'll be happy when they get him back. But we will not have to face Bradley Chubb. That not such a bad thing. So still a good defense and a young defense, but pretty good. Now, these inside linebackers, they just traded for Kenny Young. That was something I was hoping the Eagles would try to do. I really like the promise that kid flies around the ball. So we're going to see how running backs, tight ends, everybody can do against these linebackers. Got Baron Browning here. Justin Chenard had COVID, I do believe. So they had a lot of guys come down with COVID last week. We'll see if they're healthy. I'll keep you up to date with that as well. So on the IR, you got Josie Jewell, Micah Kaiser, and Alexander Johnson, AJ, if you want to go by that. But missing a couple key players there too. So that's why they traded for Kenny Young. So this defense, man, I really think you still got to be able to run that ball, regardless if they're 9th or 27th. I don't give a damn. You run that ball. So let's keep it moving. We'll get into the secondary here. They've got injuries here too. So on the IR is Bryce Callahan. On the PUP list is Hassan Bassi. But you've got out. Patrick Surtain just got hurt. So that is a huge loss. We thought we were going to get to see J.C. Horn and Devontae Smith. Didn't get to see that now. We thought we were going to get to see Surtain and Smith. That will not happen either. So you got Fuller and Darby still, and then Nate Harrison steps in. You got Mike Ford, and Ojemadier is actually on the COVID list as well. So he was one of those guys. We'll see if he is available for this game and off the COVID list. But they've got some injuries to the secondary. But we haven't been able to really take advantage of that much when that does happen throughout this season. So we did with Devontae Smith, though, last week, or this, a couple days ago, whatever. But, hey, we got to keep it going with these receivers. Now, with the safeties here, you've got quite a duo here. Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson, very underrated, but they're the real deal. And I think the Eagles are going to have a tough time running that ball, but you still got to try to do that. And look, these guys, Kareem Jackson will get that ball, and Justin Simmons will knock you out. So these guys got to play tough. They got to come ready. They got to go into Denver and whoop that ass regardless. I think it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a hard-fought game, but I think that we're learning through these growing pains, and that's all I've wanted to see. And it sucks to be 3-6, but let's be real. We knew coming into the season it wasn't about wins and losses. It was about, growing and learning what we have and what we need. So we'll see. Now, we never leave out the special teams, so we'll get into that quickly. Their kicker, Brandon McManus. They got Sam Martin and then Jacob Bobenmoyer as their long snapper. So a decent kicker, known to miss a few at times, though. And then their return specialist, they got one guy. Once again, we've got, we've done this a couple weeks now where it's just one guy as their punt returner and kick returner predominantly. So Deontay Spencer, the wide receiver, will be back there mostly. Maybe you see some Kendall Hinton. But that was it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Behind Enemy Lines with the Denver Broncos. I appreciate you guys taking the time late night for tuning in. Thanks for everything. And if you have any questions, comments, you're watching this later, you can always leave it. Always down to talk some birds. But I will be back tomorrow. I'll be guest appearing on a show every single day leading up to next Tuesday. So going to be a busy dude. I don't know when I'm going to be able to do these, but I'm going to try to keep up with it. I'll at least be doing the injury reports the next couple of days while I have these shows. But the weekend, we will still do the roster matchup, the analysis, all that stuff. And then we'll do the top 10 matchup. So Looking forward to talking some birds with you throughout the week, going through these growing pains together. But I thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out, whether it's talking about birds, talking about life. You know, I'm always here. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate the friendships I have made with you guys. So you guys have a great night. Stay safe out there. And as always, go birds!